Ay, ay, ay. Ay, 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 ay. Yeah, I'm tired. I got back up here around 4 p.m. I spent the day being poked and prodded. And I went to sleep at 4. Yeah. Hey, G. So, you guys are going to have to tell me a story. Hey, Sarah. Yeah, I'm sleepyhead. Yeah, I fell asleep. I'm just waking up. Not even waking. I'm just here. I'm still kind of in dream time. How are you guys? What are you doing? What's on your mind? You talk to me. I'll talk to you. Gonna spark me up. So what did you think of last night? Uh, Come on, let's hear from you guys. Talk it up. Uh, 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 uh. You hurt yourself? How'd you injure? What'd you injure yourself at? How injured are you? It's easy to hurt yourself on a job. I've done it. One time I was on a really tall ladder on a job, and there was a whole bunch of other trades around, and this guy with a board came and he kind of turned around and he whacked the ladder, and I flew off the ladder. And they had taken the windows out of the building. They want to replace the windows, and all the windows were taken out. And I was on the 3rd floor. Let's see. 2x4. That was a spear. Shredded. Punctured my foot. Ouch. Bounced off my steel toe. Ooh, that hurts. Ooh, punctured the toe. Ow, 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 ow. How punctured? Like really punctured, or just like a little? Yep. And one reason I was so screwed up, I broke it on the job when I was about 22. You know, all these little dings and bings and boo-boos catch up to you, though. Yep, take it slow. Taking it slow. So, guys, you know, we go through things day to day, and I get beat up. Getting beat up kind of distracts us from the kind of things that are going on around us. Procrastinating dreams. I watched year before I broke my arm in September. Had surgery. Ow. I was home. Took some potions and passed it out myself soon. So, guys, what would you do if something went astray, went awry? You know, many times on this planet, asteroids hit it, 9/11, wars, famines, things of that nature. I mean, right now, humanity is probably in the best state it has ever been. And, but the corporate world kind of owns us. We are indentured servants, right? And from New York City, Robert. How's New York City doing? Catch it or let it go. Where in New York City are you, Robert? It used to be my town. I've lived all over it. It's good. Yeah, New York City's, New York City is an interesting place. It's always changing, but it's always staying the same. And it's also a place that you can be whatever you want to be because it's so big, people don't know you. But in your neighborhood, they do. So your neighborhood's like a little town, and the rest of the city is a gigantic thing. You can just walk a few blocks and you can be a different guy. And that's one of the beauties of being a human being. You can do that. We don't need to stick ourselves someplace, right? We don't need to drop our anchor and go out in circles. Yep. You have direct access to share with people. And this weekend, there was this thing in Roanoke called Mysticon. There were about 1,000 people who were filmmakers and costumiers and artists and musicians and I mean just a ton of people. And they were all passionate about what they did. And they didn't let anybody tell them that they couldn't do it. Didn't and they overcame every obstacle to do it, right? And they were on every level of doing it, right? It was unbelievable. And they were celebrating it, and so it was 3 days of one gigantic celebration and communication and sharing. They were showing movies people made, right? 80 movies they showed, right? And it was truly extraordinary. And when I saw that, I had great hope in humanity. See that humanity could do that. But at the same time, folks that I know who keep me informed in things are saying that, oh, wow, what are we going to do? We're right on the precipice of this. I keep saying that, my observation of last summer of all these trends showed a window opening, meaning an opportunity, right, for humanity really to step up, right? And yet that hidden hand, that powers that shouldn't be, the sock puppets, they all are in a place where they want to do whatever it takes to destroy humanity, And they got, one Trident submarine has enough firepower to pretty much kill 90% of the human race. Just that one submarine. If nobody else did anything, and that submarine just, let loose its 24 MIRV missiles, each of those missiles, those Trident II missiles, have enough MIRVs. Each one has, 7 to 12 hydrogen bombs individually targetable. And, just one submarine could toast the planet, right? And we have something like 31 of those things. And England has about 12, and Russia has about, yeah, China has a few, right? So, ouch. Ouchie. And look at the Air Force, North Korea has a missile, just one, all it would take, one missile, detonated above the middle of America and would fry every integrated circuit. Our electric grid would go down, no car would work. We would be thrown back into the 19th century. And no food would be produced. So we have to really, stepping up is a good foot entry joke. And that's what we have to do. We have to keep our sense of humor. We have to really kind of step up our spiritual practices. I go into state and pray, and like yesterday, I was, again, I had my 6 month, they lift up the hood and check me out, and there's a lot of pain I have, and so anyway, I saw all my doctors. They took X-rays, blah 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 blah. And I said, well, you're still in great shape for a dead guy. If that joke is almost getting old. And they said, you're doing good. Your blood sugar, everything's fine. You're good. And you sure you don't want to start taking morphine? You sure you don't want to? You can tell that you're in a lot of pain, but and how do you do that? How do you? So one of my doctors, he was in the room with me, and he says, "How do you do that?" And I said, "Well, and he's like 30. He goes, I have terrible sleep and blah 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 blah." And I said, "Buddy, you know, don't you want to learn how to meditate?" Well, this is two, so old home story memory, and was so amazed and amused at that stuff. Experience, really magical and terrifying. Yep, and that's life, my friend. Madeline. That puts exactly what life is: wonderfully magical and terrifying. But we have a free will that we can control what we want to go through. And now there are folks who are trying their best to really throw humanity, under the bus. You've come and you've gone, Madeline. Madeline, watch. You can go on this channel and just watch. I have over 400 shows, right? And they're all magical and insightful, right? And virtually everyone I've done for the last few months, every night we go into state. We meditate and we go into our Akashic records and we go observe things, right? And exactly, we create our reality, not our powers that should be, but a great mass of the population is a mud puppet. They don't create their own reality. They don't want to. They're too lazy, too addicted, too. And you're right. War is a false solution. If no one fought it, there wouldn't be a war. Yeah, but they're doing a pretty good job of automating it. Nothing is a foe, right? We all are relations. They are running scared, exactly. But when an animal runs scared, that's when they're most dangerous. And that's what I'm saying. We have to step up. I'm sorry for the joke. Our game, and that we have to, in every day and every way, take the piece of the earth and make it stronger. 300 strong shock troops of love's co-creation kept the whole Persian Empire from attacking Greece until Greece got its act together, right? And that's what we have to be. We have to be the 300. We really do, And you have to, in your own little neighborhood, be that pebble in the pond, make that wave, bring forth the tsunami of love. Because that's where we are. We can't be petrified or scared, even though it's pretty horrifying to look at the potential of the powers that should be. But we can. Last night was a good example. I mean, I was going to take you guys into the war room of the hidden hand, and man, they knocked us off, 12 times, about 4 or 5 times in one. I just kept refreshing, and it was pretty obvious that these guys were saying, "Hey, we're watching you, folks." And they still are watching us right now, and that's a good thing, because we can reach out to them. And Madeline, you can get a hold of me personally at my Gmail, which is thedudeawake42@gmail. And I have a blog, which you can read my writings. I have novels on there, stories. And that is xratted.blogspot.com. So go check those things out. Exactly. You know, Lucifer is just, you know, he's a brand like Kleenex or Xerox or, ketchup, But the powers that shouldn't be have love co-creation. We're in a linear world, right? And we're here. This is a sandbox for us to learn how to exercise our conscious free will. And yeah, Jesus is just a story of Horace. I know all these stories are just repeated over and over again. Robert, what should I let you know I'm thinking about? I usually try and do let people know what I'm thinking about. Hmm. Yep, like I say, don't believe me. But Robert, what do you want to know about? My two expectations. One, everything happens for a reason. Yep, everything gets perspective. Yeah, gets better. Yep. Think about. I mean, that was they have had this plan, Operation Blu-ray or Blue Beam. In the 50s, they could project holograms that real into the sky. I mean, they didn't need a screen or anything. It's just bingo. And a lot of the stuff we see is just a holographic thing. So Reagan was just reading his script. He was an actor, right? And they were getting us ready for, like the movie Independence Day, right? H.G. Wells and Jules Verne were writing things for us they already had. They had that stuff, you know? Oh, how's the best of attention, so it's all good in the hood. Okay. Okay, Robert, I'll take a look. You sent it off to the dude awake 42, right? I get about 50 emails a day, so sometimes, I don't catch everything. And Nate, the human race has been in crisis since it's been here. Doesn't have to be. We live in a world of abundance. There's plenty for everybody. Um, you know, and see, the thing is, we've been at this position a number of times before. And, planet Earth is about 6 billion years old, and we've had species elimination situations, I don't know, 10, 20 times. And we're still here. No, Robert, I'm not a Facebook guy. You So get a hold of me at my Gmail, the dude awake 42. Right? I do have a Facebook page that somebody put up for me years ago, and I pulled around with it a little bit, but it was too much of a distraction. I didn't have as good a response as these live chats, that's for sure. Mm-mm. Yep, we're getting to the cadre. No problem. Oh, yeah. Hey, Articles and events agreed. Follow the work of Graham. Yep, Graham Hancock, Robert Chuck. Yep. Crazy how much we don't know. That's for sure. I mean, that's why I never became a. I mean, spent years in universities as a scholar. but never a scholastic, because those people put themselves in a box. Because they're scared. Oh, Geodia. Why don't you give us a 411 of it, Robert? And we can chime in with what we got, because this cadre knows a lot of stuff. We just have to be kind of sprung into it, you know. Yep. Yeah, yeah. DMT's in our head. I use it every day. But my own, comes from my pineal gland. It comes from our pineal gland. Yep. Love is the only true thing. Everything else is an illusion. Okay, so, I guess that is just like the cartoon of Donald Duck or Daffy Duck. And there's the angel on one shoulder and the devil on this shoulder. And every nanosecond of the day and night, we get to choose whether we're going to be that demon or that angel. We all have it in our brain. Yep. Yep, the lesser keys of Solomon. Mm-hmm. The Bible is, the owner's manual, especially the Old Testament, because the Old Testament was written in Hebrew. Each one of those letters is a number. So each word is an equation. And that's what Kabbalah is it's the study, the geometric study of alchemy. It gets released, goes when we die. Yep, but, it also gets released all day long. Felt as I was walking on the back of a snake. Well, you are. Really helped me become the nature. Yep. But, becoming, I think, here it is, 27 minutes and 28 minutes. This evening's visualization, guided meditation, I was gonna try and take you back to the control room of the hidden hand, but no, I'm not gonna do that. What I'm gonna do is take you to the control room of nature, where you were, Nate, on that hero's journey. What's the red dragon about, Nate? Yep, trapped in our egos. It's easy to do. Oh, hopefully asleep. Pretty much a wiki for demons. Yeah. Yes. There are a lot of theologic works that go into great depths of how many angels you can sit on a pen of a head, or head of a pen. So it's dragon. No, in the Chinese, yeah, mine is too. Yeah, John is a good egg, but John is he is the canary in the social coal mine. He's got his anchor down, and he's just going around and around. And hey, I'm a trained shrink. For 2 years, I've tried to loosen that up. Get him. I mean, here, he got me the pass. He's a filmmaker, right? So we went to this thing together, right? And he got so anxious, he made me take him home, and then I had to go back on my own, and I stayed there 2 days. It was great, and there were 1,000 people he could have talked to, 1,000 movie makers, 1,000 costumiers, 1,000, and he could have had a great time, but he didn't. He got anxious. Right. Well, the bottom line about almost anybody, you can't talk to them about anything unless they're ready. It's like my mother used to say all the time. You can drag a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And so for 2 years I've been trying to get John, whatever it would take, So like I said, I'm a school shrink. Oh, this is kind of scratchy. And I know some really good folks in this town who could have, um, I can't be his shrink. I can be his friend. I can listen to him. I can talk to him. I can do that. But it's unethical. I can't be his rink because hey, I'm not doing it anymore. He needs somebody who's doing it, who can figure it out. Maybe because most people's issues like this are chemical. We are this bioelectric chemical device, and any one of those things out of whack can really throw you for a loop. And if you are in that loop for years and years and years, you get stuck big time. You are stuck, and so that's I know what's going on. He's had this thing, and no one has taken the time or effort to resolve it. And the people he's going to are just and that's why I stopped being a shrink. Is that majority of the guys are just in it, just like medicine, in it for money, meaning the doctors who take care of me. It took me a good year and a half to find the right doctors to take care of me and who would care for me because I cared for them. The doctors I saw today, I go see them, call them up, and they said, "Oh, today was, what? Can you come today? I don't have that many reservations. If you can wait out in the waiting room, So that's what I do, and then I talk to everyone in the waiting room and get them. I read them. I do my little shamanic thing with them, and the people in the doctor's office love it because it makes everybody happy. Puts them all in the right state so they can, um, you know, be healed rather than just seen, and that's why these doctors take care of me because I go into their offices and I spin them up, and I let when I go see them, they do all their tests on me and they're like looking at the stuff, but mostly I spend the time talking to them about their lives and what's going on and what they can do. So this one doctor was saying he's tired, is this, is that. I said, you ever, meditate? He goes, yeah, when I was in school I did. I said, well, good, okay, got a little. So I had him meditating right in his office, and his nurse came in, and she's, he's totally gone, right, and. Yes, Dragon, that's pretty much it in a nutshell, right? And he thinks he should be the sent. There were 1,000 people there, and they were all having a great time. They were all doing what they were passionately and loved doing, and sharing it with everybody else, right? And I just walked around there, giving everyone a reading, and and it's a big circle. We just went around and around and around, and I just kept going around, and I had this big red hat, and pretty easy to find me, and I just had the best of times because I was sharing with everyone's passion. And it was just so. How can the battery be low? Well, let's see. I might get dropped off here, so let's hold on for the ride. Yes, I can see. It's very good. Still here? You still here? I'm getting censored. Just wanted to know what some I say can be seen. Yeah, G, we're seeing what you're saying. And um, Jamie Hilliard, he seems, I don't even know how to block anyone. This is a non-wrenched environment. Um, I don't know if I could have inadvertently knocked him off. I mean, I'm talking to him on my Gmail, but yeah, I mean, the powers that be are noticing what we're doing here, right? It's like, and it's only, like 300 people. Though 30,000 people are viewing this, meaning there are a lot of people who aren't like the cadre, but do look at this. Love you all. Yes, you're here. Okay, here's a sample. Well, gang, when it hits around 40 minutes and 40 seconds, you want to do a guided meditation into nature's back. Sasquatch. Okay, Sasquatch. We can go to Sasquatch. Yep, we've done it before. We can go to Sasquatch land, and that's nature. You can't get any more natural than Sasquatch. Okay, not a problem. We can go there. Okay. Yes, let's go into state. Okay. Yep, squat is real. Yep, it is. And we're going to go to their little neighborhood. We're going to go break bread with Sasquatch, right? And they're everywhere because they're dimensional entities. That's why no one, they just kind of catch them out of the side of their eye, right? Okay. So I want everyone to find themselves a nice comfy spot, a chair, a bed, someplace where your body can rest at ease and not be damaged. Um, don't go into state standing up or skiing or driving a car. No, you don't want to do that. You sit in a chair, you know, lie down on the couch or bed. That's what to do, right? And then you start breathing 20% more in and 30% out. And what that does, it occupies that squirrel in the cage of your Rolodex mind. Your mind is just a Rolodex. It's not where your soul lives or what you are. No, not. Your body is an avatar. That's all it is. Your consciousness, your conscious free will, which is your soul, is in a server someplace, right? And so by breathing in that 20% and breathing out that 30%, you occupy the squirrel. And then the squirrel goes to sleep. And then you're not disconcerted. Oh, I got to do this, got to do that, blah, 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 blah. No. Right? Right. A nice libation. Okay. Can't beat a nice libation. So everyone's nice and comfy. And you start breathing. That 20%. Only one. That's right. Like Tally says, just a little bit. I kind of look like Tally here. Anyway, so and you're Tally Sensei Album. So, everyone, start breathing that 20% in and that 30% out. And as we do that, I'm going to count from 1 to 3. And as I do, you're going to go into a deep, deep, deep state of conscious relaxation. Your avatar is going to go to sleep and go on remote control, on automatic pilot. Your autonomic system will take care of it. And you will be going into state, into your Akashic record. So here we go. So 1, your conscious mind is totally focused on your breath. You're going, breathing in that 20% in, more, and your diaphragm lifts up, and your lungs expand, and you're filling them full of your breath. And that breath, you're taking in the prana. Prana is the life force of love's co-creation. See it clearly. When you're breathing out that 30%, and that 30%, you expel more toxins from your body than any other elimination. You know, you every day you breathe in and out something to the order of 30,000 cubic feet, right? So your body is energized. You've taken your avatar has its animation. It's just a bag of water with some trace elements, and when you're breathing in, that prana goes in, fills up all the little areola, the little sacs in your lungs, and your blood pumps through your lungs, and it transfers. It's a transfer process where the prana goes into the blood. Yes, exactly. Lucifer is now part of love's co-creation. Every entity has its moment. This is true. So your lungs are now transferring that prana into your blood, and your blood does not go blub, blub, blub. It swirls along the wall of your veins and arteries and capillaries. And it swirls clockwise, and in that swirl, there's another swirl going just like this swirl above me, swirls counterclockwise, and then inside that, there's a swirl going clockwise. What is that? It is a polyphase alternating current generator. Your body makes a tremendous amount of current. I mean, look, when they, spark you back to life with a defibrillator, they hit you with a jolt of, 3 to 1,000 volts. It takes a lot of juice. And so there's a lot of juice. Now, when you're up in your card catalog, you barely have a 9-volt battery up there. So you're breathing in at 20% and breathing out at 30%. And the prana is going all through your body, and it is going into every cell of your body. And you can see every cell of your body being surrounded by the mitochondria. That is the little ever-ready bunny of each of your cells, right? And the rest. So as you're doing that, and you're bringing in the photonic light, that's what prana is, that photonic light is coming into your body, and it's going electrically throughout the whole body by your blood. That's the carrier, that's the conductor, because it's highly iron rich, and that's why our blood has so much iron, is to conduct electricity. Turn our veins into one big, electrical system, right? And you are grounded out through your chi. So you're bringing in the prana from Father Sky, and you are grounding it out, creating the circuit through your chi into the ground, into Mother Earth. And so in every day and every way, you take the piece of the earth and you make it stronger by co-creating with love. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil, as was in the beginning, is now, ever shall be, world without amen. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for our sinners now and the hour of death. Amen. As was in the beginning, is now, ever shall be. And every day and every way you take the peace of the earth from your Father's sky by breathing in that prana and bringing it to all our relations by grounding it out through your chi into Mother Earth. See this clearly. And this process will heal all our relations. This process will make all of us who go into state the shock troops of love's co-creation. And just a handful of us can keep love co-creating. Because by that, I mean, all of the terrible things that have gone on, we should be toast, right? I'm very, I know what's going on, you know. I was going to show you, the plans they have for us last night. And, we were stopped, thwarted. They didn't want us to see it, but we don't have to go remote view that place, And basically when we go into state, that's one of the things we are doing. We are remote viewing. And every time I take you into a land, when I took you through the doors or through the roots of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and see, the thing is, the tree is there for us to use. We're just not supposed to eat the fruit because the fruit is terribly toxic. Tree's not. Fruit is. And that's why we travel through the roots of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And we go to all those lands because when we go through the roots, we're going through the back door and we are remote viewing. We're invisible. They can't see us. You go through the front door, yes. You go through the front door of hell, boy, they can see you. You go through the front door of death, oh boy, they can see you. You go through the front door of the land of the 8 kings of magic, oh, they can see you. That's why we got to go with a whole cadre of ascended masters, But when we go through the roots of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, we are invisible, and we're safe when we just travel you're traveling with me, your Sensei Al Bob, and you're traveling also with your guides and the rest of the cadre of the shock troops of love's co-creation. And love's co-creation, which is the creator of everything, right? The prime mover, the great creator, right? And the reason I don't use the word God or Lord or any of those things is that when you take them back to Sumerian, God means demon and Lord means Satan. So, and that's the whole thing. Why do you think they call it spelling? Because it's a spell, right? So, and you're in a deep, deep, deep state of relaxation. Your conscious mind is totally focused on your breath, on the subtler planes. Yeah, that's where we're going, into the subtler planes. Trying to appeal to people on minds. It gets exhausting. Yep. And that's why, me with John, it's if I could bottle John and make him an app, I could make a fortune. Because that would give people this experience of what's going on. Like you keep saying, here's the canary in the coal mine. And when you go into state and look at that, it's like, whoa, you can see all the needles and pins. But that's not where we're going tonight. We are going into nature, right? We are going to ride the snake's back, right? And so, you're in a deep, deep, deep state of relaxation. Your conscious mind is totally focused on your breath. Your avatar is on, automatic pilot. Yep, no expectations. See it clearly. And we have energized every cell in our body, and we are full of photonic light. I want you to take that photonic light and put it in your imaginary mirror. That's right, across, whoop, right across here, your two eyes and your third eye, your pineal gland. And when you put photonic light into your imaginary mirror, and that your imaginary mirror is where you dream. That's where your eyes go across your eyelids. That's dream time. That's your imaginary mirror. And when you pump the energy photonically up by breathing the prana and focusing the prana to every cell and energizing your mitochondria, that's when you can take and focus that photonic light and illuminate your subconscious mind and see that your subconscious mind is not a scary place where the monsters live. It is the library of your Akashic records. Right? Yes, that's where we're going to go. Um, Anastasia is going to be our guide to nature. Right? If you folks haven't read her books of the Singing Cedar series, you should. Right? They are truly, the one thing worth paper, right? And you can go online, and there's a couple of her books online. Um, Her husband wrote them, and then a young man from Russia who was studying in America had them translated, and it'll help you a great deal. Right? So within, so without. Yep. They are trying to steer people minds into another trap. Exactamundo. And where we're going tonight is we're going to go into our lodge, and we're going to go into our garden, and we're going to go into Master, Ascended Master Akashic K's Hambu, and there we're going to meet Anastasia, and she is going to take us into nature. Okay. So, one, you are shining from your imaginary mirror. You're shining a photonic light into your subconscious. You've illuminated it. You're walking in, and in front of you, you see the fireplace of the eternal flame, and then there are these very comfy chairs, that your guests can sit in. And usually, the way guests come into your Akashic record is through the chimney, right? That whole thing with Harry Potter. I mean, pretty much Harry Potter is true, but it was brought to you by Hollywood. Magic wands, the wood they use is Hollywood. So the dark side, kind of not the dark side, but the Luciferian illusion wanted, to see that, right? Wanted you to get distracted by that. So, but what you're going to see is in those lounge chairs, you see a whole family of, Bigfoot, because I can't pronounce Sasquatch that well anyway. You got to do it fast. And they're there. They're your friends. They're there waiting for you, right? And they're sitting down, and they're drinking tea and eating scones and having a generally good old time in your Akashic record. Now, what you need to do is, so in front of them, there's the fireplace, the chairs, and here's your reading table. Behind your reading table, it's your reading chair, and it's illuminated by photonic light. And how you can tell what photonic light is and what isn't. Photonic light has no shadows, where all Luciferian light is basically fog, and it throws shadows all the time, and so there's no truth. When there's no shadows, there's truth. And when there's everything is shadows, it's illusion, right? This is how you can tell the difference. So, you sit down at your reading table, your librarian, and then you see your librarian clearly. And then to the left of your librarian is your animal totem. And to the left of your animal totem is your guardian angel. Librarian brings you your text, your Akashic record, or whatever else you may need. And your animal totem's there as to tell you a story. You can read stuff and you may not understand it. Your animal totem will tell you a story, just like your animal totem is a griot. I am your griot, Sensei Al-Bab. What is a griot? Somebody who tells you a story that makes your brain go, oh yeah, now I see what that is, right? And that's what stories were made for. The writing thing is an illusion. That's why it's called spelling. It's a spell. And your guardian angel watches your back. Because you brought some truth. You could get, your shit twisted up, but your guardian angel's got your back. You don't have to get upset or fearful, right? So, two, you're in a deep, deep, deep state of conscious relaxation. That's what happens when you only have 5 teeth. I soon won't have even those. Anyway, so you're sitting there, and what I want you to do is your Akashic record is placed in front of you. You open it up, the big book. There's 2 blank pages. Put your right hand on the right page and the left hand on the left page, and you lean into your Akashic record and you evacuate, you eliminate all of the fear, all of the anger, all of the frustration, all of the self-doubt, all the negative feelings you have. You eliminate them, right? You evacuate them. You just, pour them into the book. Then you close the book. Boom. Now they're no longer in you. You feel lighter than a balloon. But I urge you to go back into state at your leisure and look into your Akashic record at all, you can see all your past lives, all your present activities, and all into the future. And you can get an amazing perspective. And on those blank pages, a big screen shows up with 28 little screens around it. And the big screen gives you the picture. And, in our illusionary world of our avatar, our water bag or our mud puppet, we only have 5 senses, right? And those 5 senses can only see, experience 0.0095% of the universe. The rest we don't get, right? We only experience 4 dimensions: up, down, width, and a time. And there's over 16. Today's physics say 10, 11 that we can kind of prove, but there are actually 16 within just the little square of patch where we are. And then there's multiverses everywhere, so it's it goes into infinity, right? So here you are, looking at all this in your Akashic record, and you are this is when you go back and you can get a perspective of anything you want. And then you got librarian brings you more information. Your animal totem tells you a story to explain it, because that's what is known as a gestalt, meaning back in the day of Freud, he said when you hear something and you write it down in your Akashic record, you don't write things down to remember. Your card catalog does that. What writing down does, it makes you understand, because you hear it, you write it down, and you go, oh wow, that's why that is. So when you hear the story from your griot and you're thinking about it and you're putting it down in your Akashic record, puts it on the screen, you see the big picture, then you have 28 little screens that give you 28 different dimensions to look at on how it was. And that's when you're getting close to 60% of your ability to see something, not 0.0095, right? And that's why the Akashic record is such an amazing tool. And then, being able to go into your super conscious mind, the sanctuary of your own choosing, right? And to be able to go into um, your own lodge where you have a guide of your lodge, and in your lodge you have your own garden where the tree of knowledge is, where the tree of life is, where the pond of the great link is. These are all tools, where you have your greenhouse and little shop to work on things, where you have um, you know Ascended Master Akasha K's Hambu, which is his classroom, and where you have your own little carnival, right? So that's your garden. Now your super conscious mind, your sanctuary of your own choosing, that you go there's in your Akashic record, you got 9 doors. One of them is open all the time. That goes straight into your sanctuary, right? And you go over your id to get there, right? To overstand, right? And there's, again, the tree of knowledge of good and evil, the tree of life, the great lake of the great link, all of that is there. See that clearly. And these are your tools, right? But for now, you're sitting at your reading table, and you are lighter than light, and you see the Bigfoot sitting right over there, and you get up and you go over and you sit down and you have a little tea with them, and they are just so happy to see you. And you say, well, I'd love it if you would come into my lodge, so let's go. So you kind of float over into the shortcut between your Akashic record and your lodge, and your lodge resides in the house of the cadre. And the house is Frank Lloyd Wright's Falling Water. And the house's name is not Falling Water, but translate that into Greek and you get the Oracle of Delphi. And that's our house is the Oracle of Delphi. Now, why Frank Lloyd Wright named it Falling Water is that water that falls is that Oracle of Delphi. It's knowledge, it's understanding, it's bringing forth, right? And so there you are, sitting in your sitting room in your lodge, right? And your guests of the Bigfoot are sitting in your thing, and again, you're having nice. Your guide of your lodge is bringing you more tea. The teapot 1, 2, and 3. 1 to make you strong for the trip. 2 to sharpen your wits so you can understand the trip, and 3 that DMT that you love so much, putting you into an altered state so you can suspend your disbelief. I mean, whenever you go into state, you're suspending your disbelief. But when you take your third eye's DMT consciously, this is when you really get to see stuff. So you're enjoying the little morsels that your lodge guide has brought, and also your guides, your librarian, your animal totem, and your guardian angel are with you. And through the cloakroom comes the old crone. So you have a nice little talk and experience of being the host in your lodge. And then, after you're satiated and you feel good, you've had a nice little conversation and everyone's introduced and connected, and you and you're all a clan, and whenever you take a journey of this, you move forth as a clan, and so you go out through your library into your dining room, out through the French doors, onto the veranda and then down the steps into your garden. And exactly, Jay. You don't need drugs and, when you go into state, you know. And that's why I don't do drugs, because they have no effect on me, especially psychotropics. Yes, I'm tripping all the time. And the only substance I really take part in is cannabis. And I like to eat it because it doesn't burn my lungs. And that actually chemically does an amazing job on my eyes and my joints. So, yep. So whatever works good for you. Don't let people tell you what to do. Just be open to your consciousness free will, right? Don't be a mud puppet. Be a conscious free will. As Buddha would say, the traveler would say, "Are you God?" And Buddha would say, "No, I'm awake. Just be awake. Just let you be you." That's right. So, we are walking down into the garden, and we basically go into the hambu, and we are, standing there in line to do our katas, right? And in front of us is Master Akasha, and to the left is the old crone, and to the right is the Bigfoots, right? And they are all doing the form, step and sweep, step and sweep. And as we do that, we go deeper into state. And 3, your conscious mind is totally focused on your breath. Your avatar, your bag of water, your mud puppet is totally on automatic pilot. And it's safe. Yes, wax on, wax off. It is, exactly. And you're going deeper and deeper into that it is state. And as you go deeper and deeper into that it is state, your whole clan there, everyone who is, stepping and sweeping, finds yourself around the tree of knowledge in your garden. And you look down into the roots, not the fruit, that's toxic. The roots will take you where you need to go. And you see one of those roots has a kind of colorful energetic crack in it, right? And that light is starting to form all around you, and then the bubbles come up from that crack, right? And the bubbles are kind of like bubble wrap, kind of protect you as you journey down. And the crack that is open is down into nature. And you're now in the roots, right? And you're down underground, and you're in the land of nature, right? And Mother Nature is there, right? And Mother Nature is like cousin to love's co-creation. And you're going down into Mother Nature's lodge, right? The whole crew, the whole clan, right? All of us, all our guides, the Bigfoots, right? And as we go into Mother Nature's hambu, there's a wall, just like Madame Olga Kluber's wall of mirrors. But this one it's a shimmering photonic light, right? And if you've ever seen the TV show Stargate, it's like that shimmering light. That's photonic light. Um, and we all walk through that. And where do we pop out but into the Bigfoot's forest? And in that forest, you are in the depths of the deep green, right? And all of nature is not covered, not, a mystery, not, it's there, right there. You are there with it. And you're there with all these teachers, all these guides, all these grand masters who are showing you that your connection, of your conscious free will it's again, its major connection is through nature, not through instrumentality or technology or any of those things, because they're just the illusion of our ego, right? See it clearly. See the difference. Because in the the natural land of the Bigfoot, right? They come and visit us to try and bring us knowledge of nature. So we will not screw nature up. So we will not, um, you know, devastate things. And every species that goes extinct, it doesn't really go extinct, it just goes extinct from our presence. Yes, it's all intent. Pirate Drake 009 it's all about intent. It's our intent. So if we let our ego take us away, then our intent is ego. But if our intent is to heal and share and to co-create with love, well, that's balance. That's you know doctor, do no harm. Make the best of it and stop complaining. Exactly. Stop complaining. That's what I loved about this weekend's little party, is that there were 1,000 people not complaining. They were overjoyed with love's co-creation. That's why I just had so much fun there, right? And there was thousands, and everybody was different. Everyone was doing different things, but they were passionate about it, and that's what um, you know we find the Bigfoot, that they are passionate about nature and love's co-creation. And the old crone is a woman of the woods. She's all about what nature is. She manifests healing and understanding through nature. And she basically, see what I'm doing here? This is how you can interact with nature. You can, through your intent. This is, not really part of the software, but I am, using my intent to just do that. Right, you can die of over drinking water, right? And, you should not let anyone tell you what to do. You know the best. You just have to listen to yourself and not the illusion of your ego, because that's not you. You know, all about balance. Yep, homeostasis. You have to feel. See, I can keep the bubbles. Not so much. Oh, there's one. See, my ego. Right. So Right. Be alkaline, but just don't dump the whole box of baking soda in your mouth. You know, and, I forgot which of you really is into drinking piss. That's pretty good for you too. You know, everything in balance. I kind of brush my teeth with baking soda, and that does a pretty good job of giving me the baking soda I need. That's great. I mean, that's why I still have five teeth left in my head. Anyway, so I'm going to leave you. Um, let's see. We can burst inspiration and growth, but the body and form always seeks. Let me study. The problem is people want eyes without the laws that are in. Yeah, there's a price in the illusionary world. There's always a price, right? You are the P man, right? So, right, like I still, once you reminded me, I knock a little, in the morning. If I got to, eliminate first thing, I got a cup right here. It's my pee cup. I pee in it and take a little sip. It's all about balance. It's all about, not being scared of anything, but doing it in balance, right? See, I'm trying to. Whoops, there you go. Yep, it's all about balance. And, oh 09, because we're still in this, avatar, we forget things, And almost, I don't want to say I'm a totally habitual guy, but I can get out of habits of doing things that are really good for me. That's why I got really sick, you know? But you reminded me, oh, yes, I used to do that. Okay, so I do that now, Yep, loop the waters. The loop of love. Yep, P helps us out. I think that's. But man, I showed John that. Boy, he freaked out that I drank my piss in front of him. He was like, yep, in the perpetual circle. That's kind of what we're surrounded here by, these bubbles, the perpetual circle. And in every day and every way, we take the piece of the earth and we make it stronger. Right? So I'm going to let you folks kind of be on your own here while I'm meditating here. And we have gone into, from, Ascended Master Akasha K's Hambu into the natural state of the Bigfoot, and we're in their garden, their natural state. And as we walk through the garden, we find and come upon the little meadow of the Russian old crone. You know, our sister of the singing cedars. And we all sit around the circle, and there's a fire in the middle. And there are all kinds of instruments and pots of tea. And I want you to play a drum, a flute, dance, sing. And three, you're in a deep, deep state of conscious free will. You're have ascended into the higher realms. And you're going around the circle, and everyone is having a heart song. That's the rattle of ants. The circle of healing vibrations. Whatever bothers you, whatever hurts you, whatever distracts you, go into homeostasis and balance. Hear the love of Anastasia, our sister of the singing cedars. See the books that her husband have written. And at your leisure, you will go online and find them that you can read free online. And or if you want to buy them, you can buy the usual suspects. But for now, you are with all of your relations. The real deal, not some edifice of an artifice, not something you buy online, because you're not in your avatar. You are in your conscious free will. And remember, even in the Luciferian universe of illusion, that's where, that's our sandbox. That's where we play. We learn to play nice. And when we can take this experience of being in balance and take it into our lives of our avatar and bring that balance into that, that's when we are serving love's co-creation. See it clearly. And 3, your conscious mind is totally focused. So I'm going to leave you there in nature, in the circle, with all of your teachers and guides. And you see me there in the circle, but I'm not going to talk. It's the intent of the alternative aesthetics, right? It's the intent. Right? I was a little bummed out, that's why I went to sleep and came up, but now my intent is so much clearer, so much happier. We use the tools at hand. It's our intent as well. as we create new ones. That's why I keep bringing you in there and showing you different things. These are all tools, right? So I'm going to leave you with the tools and the ceremony, right? And I usually spend a good half an hour going into state myself and preparing the shamanic way, right? But I didn't tonight. I just kind of woke up and turned on the old YouTube, and you guys kind of showed up. And yep. And our intent grew, right? Now here we are in state, and we have brought our intent into realization, right? It's getting stronger and stronger. I'm going to leave you in the circle. I'll be right back. But I'm in the circle. I'm just not talking. Dragon, you can't do anything if you have the right intent. Right? And folks, when you are in your Akashic record, you can try anything out, in a safe environment. Go into your sanctuary of your own choosing and go into the fun house. You can try anything. Well, Dragon, again, everything's intent, right? So it's all your intent. And I know you, so I know the sweet person you are and the true person you are. And so I know where you're coming from. But you just need to kind of practice your intent. That's all. That's what this is all about. This is, when you go into state, this is a great place to practice everything. You got all these tools, right? All these environments, all these teachers, So you can, right? And you're still in the circle, and I want you to now go around in the circle. Everyone kind of go around in the circle and speak up to yep, exactly. They will work for love's co-creation, not so much us, because we're in service to love's co-creation, right? But in reality, they can't hurt. The only kind of violence and hurt that can, so say we all, yep, can have happen is when we allow it to happen, right? And so, and we just have to, when we are in the illusionary world, to be more awake, be like Buddha, Are you God? No, I'm awake. That's kind of where we have to be. Yep, that's the thing. Less and less separation. The powers that shouldn't be, the only way they can control is by separating everyone. They do. Classes, races, genders, sexual preferences. I mean, these are all separations. None of that shit matters. You know? Well, Dragon, that righteousness can only be true when you are serving love's co-creation. And within the context of our illusionary world, that righteousness and truth only rings true when you are empathizing with all of your relations and not, you know, focus on yourself. Treasure lies within, yep. And that within is the doorway to all our relations. We when we go into state, that's where we are right now. We are within. Right? We're in our Akashic record. No being selfish. Yep. Right? Because that's such a dead end game. I mean, what do you get from being selfish? Nothing. Totally nothing. Right? And so that's where we're at. So, 3, we're in a deep, deep, deep state of relaxation, sitting in this circle in the Bigfoot's forest. Of course, I just keep repeating, that's all. And your sensei keeps the eye on the ball, that's all. You know? Thoughts, correct thoughts bring correct words, which bring correct actions, which becomes correct outcomes. See it clearly. And every day and every way we take the piece of the earth and we make it stronger with love's co creation. See it clearly. So, again, we're in the circle. I want you to ask. You have all these great teachers in the circle. Ask any questions you want. You know, the bottom line, we have two ears to hear, one mouth to speak with. So, connecting the dots, points of awareness to unite and strengthen us all. Yep, I'm just your pencil sharpener. Do, do, do. Ba, 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 ba. Woo. So, just ask questions. We're in the circle. Well, you see me carrying around my composition books. I got thousands of them. And, I do autonomic writing. Comes in my head, I just kind of write along. That's why I can barely read it. But then I go off to the library and go on one of their computers and I type it out onto a thumb drive. And that's how, I don't know if you guys gone off to xratted.blogspot.com. A lot of you have. And, that's, the stuff I scribble down is I then write it into a story like that. Yeah, I'm showing you, there's a whole process I learned from the old crone about how to change weather. And you have to, it's called busting clouds, right? And in Ireland, stand in any one place long enough, the weather will change 5 times. So if you're doing something outdoors and it starts raining hard, you can stop it raining. And my, tapping the bubbles out is my little, um, you know, practicing that. I'm basically using my intent and my energetics to interact with a digital device that I can't even touch, but I can move the bubbles around. And I find that amusing. And you see me doing it, and some of them I can move, but when I get too full of myself, they don't move at all. Hey, buddy, I will go and look at everything, and when I see people send me stuff, I look at it, So, Dragon, I will look at it and respond, which I always do, you know. Might take me a little minute or two to get to it, but, I will. And I do my best. That's all I can do. Yeah, exactly, same thing. I have a friend. I taught her how to do it, and she's gotten so good at it. She can turn clouds into bunnies and cats, and all I can do is like swipe bubbles. But it's really not difficult. It really isn't. Just again, it's a great, tool to sharpen your ability of intent. The only way you can bust a cloud is with intent. Exactly. That's why they see so much in the clouds. Yep, exactly. A purity of intent. That's if we could all have children's hearts, we would have heaven on earth. And I worked a lot with children, and I always that saying, there's no such thing as a bad kid. This is very true. Now there's their parents who treat them. When I was a social worker for the New York City Housing Authority, I mean, I was actually, within the construct of the New York City Housing Authority police, but I acted as, a social worker. And my partner, she was more of she was enough of a police person. Really, she was more a junkyard dog than our whole. I mean, everyone in our department was scared of her. She loved me, and that was a good thing. She was like, when I visualize my guardian angel, it's her. You know, a 5'11", taut body, goddess, Irish, Puerto Rican, red hair, green eyes, brown skin, and a unstoppable presence. And we would, so there was two of us, and we had charge of 1,200 units, and we would always intercede when the screaming and yelling and violence would come, and I would come in and try to diffuse it with my intent. And then when the bad cop had to, or the button, you know, the hammer had to come down, she would come in and bring it down. So I could walk into those places fully confident that they knew that she was just on the other, in the hallway, and she would even if they locked the door, that was not going to stop her. She didn't need a ram; she would just kick it in with her foot. She had a keto down. She could enter, she could. Anyway, we saw so many terrible things done to children. Kids chained to radiators, like with their head like 3 inches, like 4 chain links distance to a hot radiator. Kids blind because they've been locked their whole life in a dark. Kids with used as an ashtray with burns all over them. And when she would see that, those people were like taken away by an ambulance. And so everyone in that housing authority, that housing scene, and we walked around all the time. She was in her uniform carrying like 24 different weapons. Me in flip-flops, shorts, and a cowboy hat and mirrored sunglasses. We were the dynamic duo. And I'd walk in first and see what was going on, assess the situation, if I could calm it down, say, hey, listen, guys, you don't want to get her angry. Because they would see, like I said, people taken out in the ambulance. And then we would walk, her still in uniform, we'd walk over to Avenue B and 9th Street and have a drink whenever she got really wound up. And our boss would let her do that. Just one now, just one. She could only have one. So that's all about intent, the intent. And being in a cadre, we were a cadre of two and a clan of two, and, the shock troop too, And I was the single coral. She never said anything, except screaming, ah, But children's ids and egos are like a china cup. They're so easily broken and so hard to be put back together. Yep. And a lot of children, one of the biggest problems is that within the construct of the nuclear family, which is a artificial edifice, meaning the family should be all our relations, and then our clan. Not so much a tribe, because tribe gets very insulated, but clan is that unit. And it's not just mommy and daddy and the kids. It's mommy, dad, and the kids, grandma, grandpa, aunts and uncles, best friends, And they have a cohesiveness that's individual. Whereas the tribe is pretty much everyone has to be the same. And if you're not part of the tribe, you get ostracized. Let's see. Let's see. And so one of the problems in the nuclear family is that the parents are, by the children, through the culture, put in a place of authority and superiority and a godhead. Do as I do. No, do as I say, not as I do. And the children basically will make them gods, see them larger than life, make a story about them. That's been told to them. And then, as they get older and get experience outside the nuclear family, at a certain point they realize that A, their parents have been lying to them, just like the public is starting to realize that our culture has been lying to us. But instead of putting it into construct of realizing that the culture isn't just our politics or our laws or this religion or that group. No, it's the power structure of the hidden hand. And we never, like Donald Trump, everything he says and that's the secret of propaganda is when you base it on truth. When he's going on about, fake news, well, man, it's been fake news from day one, right? Back into Samaria. Huh? When he's talking about the deep state, well, it's been the deep state forever, but he doesn't go all the way. He doesn't talk about the hidden hand. He doesn't, when he says, the lying media, well, he doesn't tell everyone that it's owned by, four corporations that are the same corporation and it's all about controlling the masses. No, he doesn't go there. He just goes there about, they're lying about me, right? And, again, he's done nothing more than any of the other politicians have done. He's just a moron. They're all a moron, but he is so nihilistic, and they're all nihilistic. And it's all about him, and all those politicians, it's all about them. Because the hidden hand owns them and makes them feel that way. So that's like the parental oops. And that's the rest of the world. Yep. So, but when you live in a clan, so my grandma took me away from my family, and I'm taking this one, and she brought me up from, 4 months until I was 7, and she handed me back. She said, "Well, okay, you should be able to, withstand the that, and you need to get a little roughened up." So she threw me back into the coarse field of the pack of wolves that was my family. And, I had a hard, and so she kept an eye on me. And whenever I needed a little more fine tuning, she'd take me off. I'd stay at her house for a weekend, and we'd go see movies and stuff like that. And she would tell me stories. She was my griot. And within her circle of friends, she had all these amazing friends. And like Mamo, right? And Dr. Teresa. Again, go to my XRATTED and read all 6 of my cuts. And you'll get a really, bang up story of who and what I am and where I came from and all the above, right? And it's all written shamanically, so you will get an energetics out of it and a sense of intent that will levels and layers. People talk from levels they have unraveled. There are many depths and dimensions of life, and the interact constructs that have been set up here, right? And because we're all in this Luciferian illusion, it gets pretty confusing unless you come from your conscious free will. That'll never lead you astray, because that will bring you into your Akashic record. You'll look in it, and within the text of your Akashic record, you get perspective on everything, and not just from one dimension, from at least 28, you know? I like that, Dragon. Understand, understand, overstand. Yep, very good. I like that. Well, so we've been at this for about an hour and 52 minutes and 52 seconds. I love it when that happens. Yep, and I think that's our conversation is right kind of where it should be. And I'm going to be quiet again, and we're going to go back into the circle, and you can ask all of those ascended masters. Remember, I'm just your Sensei Al-Bob, you know. Getting it from the old clone's mouth is definitely it, you know. And Anastasia, she can give you, lay down some great truth. And, Ascended Master Akashic K. And when you're in circle, the Bigfoot will communicate with you telepathically, right? It sounds a lot like '09 here and Dragon. So I'm just gonna be over here in the circle singing. Okay, so 3, you're in a deep, 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 deep state of relaxation. You're in the Bigfoot land of nature, and you're sitting in a circle, fire pit, all great masters and teachers, and your cadre, and your fellow sister shock troops of love's co-creation. You feel cleansed and healed and enlightened. Your mind is open for the day, for the night, for the dream time, for whatever you want to do. And remember, and every day take the piece of the earth and make it stronger, because we are the front lines of keeping the hands, the hidden hand, from pushing that button. We are there to keep the powers that shouldn't be further and further away from implementing a negative outcome. We are there to keep at bay the sock puppets of the political structure. We will in every day and every way talk to everyone we come in contact with with love's co-creation's intent and about love's co-creation's reality as the only thing that creates truth and life. See it clearly. Yep. Simplify. Yep. Simplify. Clarify. Overstand. And your conscious mind is totally focused on your breath. Your avatar is on automatic, and you are in the land of the Bigfoot. You're sitting around the circle, so get up and start to dance around the circle with all of your teachers and guides and masters and your cadre and all your relations. See it clearly. And now we're going to travel back. Travel back. I'm going to count from 3 to 1, and as I do, you'll come back to your avatar. And 3, you are in the land of the Bigfoot, and you're facing each other, your teachers, your guides, your masters. You are feeling nature's truth up through your feet and in through your lungs. And now that's all you have to do to go into state, to go back to the land of nature of Bigfoot. All you have to do is go into state, evacuate all your anger and fear into your Akashic record, and float into the chimney and up the chimney, and bingo, there you'll be in your, that's the shortcut to go to any land, and that's how you bring all of your avatars and masters to you, is through the fireplace. See it clearly. This is where Rawlings got everything for Harry Potter. She got it out of her Akashic record. It's gone beyond. Yeah, I'm always in state now. Sasquatch, yep. Bigfoot. It's gone beyond all recognition and beyond, and it's gone beyond into clarity. That's where it's gone. It's gone into clarity. You're not in the illusion any longer. If you are in state continually, you've gone into clarity. Yep, to always be in touch with that part of ourselves. All our relations. To be in touch with love's co-creation. That is truth of clarity right there, which allows us to travel and through all our relation states within our ascended record and our Akashic record and in state. And by being in state, it allows us to navigate the illusion of the Luciferian universe. And the more we navigate and lead by example, the more we assist all of this illusion to get on the bus and get back home to love's co-creation. That is what we're here to do. See it clearly. To have one foot in both worlds. Yep. And that's deja vu. Yogi Bear would say deja vu all over again. Yep, unless you're in love's co-creation. Yep, that's when everything's a gift. Yep. And all things are as they should be, and everything has a reason. Right? It is. Everything, it is. Say it clearly. Life is a gift. Yep. And it's sad that, the powers that be have the power of illusion. The powers that shouldn't be have the power of illusion. They don't have the power of it is, but they have the power of illusion. And so many of our brethren of all our relations are just sucked into it, And that's why we have to lead by example to assist. because just our presence, we're like that pebble in the pond, that wave that goes out. We don't even see the true effect of everything we do when we are in state and we are walking and navigating through the illusion with the intent of love's co-creation. That is so powerful that we don't have to worry about, Third World War or the invasion of, aliens, because, man, that should have happened back in 1935, but it didn't. Yep, just our presence, with our intent of love's co-creation, creates and changes the wave towards unity and love. Yep, that's it. And we go in, right now, the powers that shouldn't be, the hidden hand, they're looking at us. They're saying, last night was their like, hey, we're watching you. And, Sophia, the AI, everybody's watching this. We are on their main radar screen. And I tell you guys, we aren't here to bust your bubble. You haven't seen me bust any of these. I just kind of move them around a little bit. That's all we're here to help you do. You can be in power, if you were to just relax into your job and, do it with love's co-creation, man, you would be the best at ruling the universe. And that's all that needs, You do that, the bubble breaks, everybody gets on the bus, we go back to love's co-creation in all our relations, not just the few conscious with a free will. All will have a free will. Lucifer will have that free will to choose, not to have to be, the snake. And the snake can be the angel, and the angel can be the fish. And that's what we're here to do. It has our free will. We all, we just have to all exercise our free will. And that's what will pop the bubble of the Luciferian illusion. See it clearly. And 3, you're in a deep, deep state of relaxation, coming back to your avatar. And you're taking the shortcut from the Sasquatch home of nature down through the chimney. Bango, there you are in your Akashic record, your library. You're walking out of the fireplace of the eternal flame, and your guides all come with you, and you turn towards them and you bow with grace and gratitude. And the oak crone is there, and the Ascended Master Akashic K is there, and our sister of the cedars are there. See it clearly. And you bow with grace and gratitude, and you walk from your Akashic record into your mirror, imaginary mirror of that white light of photonic light, and you see all of your cells all energized, right? See it clearly. And 2, you're oozing back into your avatar. You're becoming awake of your physical self in the illusionary world of Lucifer. And you feel cleansed and clear, and you are awake. You're not going back to sleep, you are awake. See it clearly. And you will, in every day and every way, take the peace of the earth by going more and more into state yourself. Just breathing that 20% in, that 30% out. That's all it takes, you know. And if you need, you can go on your little, you know, YouTube device and look at any one of those guided meditations. I would go start perusing them. They're all kind of interesting. Just like throw a dart on the map and so okay, look at that one, you know. And you can flip through them too. You know, you don't have to watch it from beginning to end. I do it, and I kind of flip through the live chat. I can flip through the whole live chat and read it all. You know, a 2 hour live chat. I can read the live chat in about 5-10 minutes if I and really read it, right? Not just skimming it. I can do it in a minute. Yep, many different light spectrums, right? Like this, right? That's the dreamy or the dance party, right? There you go. We're in the dance party. I mean, that's where I was this weekend. Mysticon was one big friggin' dance party. You know, go talk to Lucifer, Dragon. You know, you can do that. And again, you have to realize that love's co-creation has created everything. And, you know, I've told this story many times. I'll tell it again. You know, what happened? The Big Bang was when Lucifer was in charge of heaven. Heaven ran everything under hegemony. Everybody went by the rule book, right? And then, you know, within the construct of that, there was an element of friction. And that friction created what Love's co-creation was thinking about. And what was that? That was a consciousness with a free will. Everybody else before the consciousness of free will had no free will. They just were run by the hegemony of heaven. And Lucifer was in charge of heaven. So Lucifer thought he was God, right? And that's why that word God is, you know. So, but, you know, Love's co-creation kind of had a hands-off policy. And so when, you know, free will's consciousness came into being, Love's co-creation said, wow, this is cool. There's somebody I can play with who has a free will like me and can decide what to do. And bingo, Lucifer got very pissed off. And like a petulant child, he threw his toys around and he broke heaven, right, through a war. And that energy of war and that ferocity of breaking the hegemony of heaven, which was the rule book of everything, of all existence, broke that existence with a big bang. And that big bang created our universe, right? And our big bang was all at once. The beginning, you know, the alpha, the omega, the beginning, the end, the middle, all came in zingo. But Love's co-creation said, okay, this is good. I made this. Even though it's chaotic and illusionary and all the above, I still made this, right? So what I'm going to task this is as a sandbox for all of these, for all of our relations to get on the same page. This universe, this sandbox, will give all of those, of all our relations who don't have a conscious free will, this will get them to have a conscious free will by this, you know, eternities of experience. And that's why instead of it being all in one time, all one place, I am creating this thing called time. And it's going to be linear. It's going to kind of go in a line at every, you like that? I like that kind of, you know, that linear line. And so that's why all, you know, people, how can there be a God when life sucks so bad? Well, they're only experiencing that part of life. You know, the other 99.99% of it, that's really extraordinarily a blessing. Anyway, so Lucifer ain't a bad guy. He just got a job that's a tough one. And it was his ego. He had an ego. He didn't have a free will. He had an ego. All these souls had consciousness and self-awareness, and some of them had egos. Lucifer had one heck of an ego, you know. And so that's the whole ball of wax here, gang, is that nothing's bad or good. There is no sense to judge anything. What we have to do is ascend, step up, move forward to our conscious free will. I'm awake 80% of the time because I've been working at this many, many, many lives. Meaning, I remember my past life. And I remember being fertilized. I remember being born. I remember everything else. That's why I'm a griot. That's what makes us a griot, that kind of memory, right? And if you were to go to XRATTED, Dragon, go to XRATTED and read my novel there because it explains this amazingly. And it also is a good showing on how to bring the Akashic record into the reality through the process of shamanism. My writing is a shamanistic ceremony, and it's imbibed with the psychosocial, cultural, forensic, anthropologic alchemy that I practice. The shamanism is the frame, the rest is my practice. And that novel that's up there at xratted.blogspot.com is where you can see it demonstrated and exhibited. Now, I have another 25 or so novels, and that novel I left out the last quarter because you have to understand this. It's like not fair to give you that last quarter before you've read the 6 cuts, right? 200 and something pages, right? And I break them down into cuts, and you can read any direction you want. You can take 1 to 6 or 6 to 1 or 4, 2, 1, 3, 5, 6. You can do it any old way you want. But you gotta kind of read them a few times for you to get the gist of the matter. And once you do, once you guys read them, I will then turn over the last quarter, which is pretty intense shamanic, energetic information. Now you can go find this out by going in state 5-6 times a day, and you can actually read my novel on your Akashic record. Okay, I guess I'm making a mockery of something I know nothing about. You're right, Dragon. You're just so right. You know everything. Not me. I don't know nothing. I keep saying, don't believe anything I say. I'm just a fool. And fool on the hill. Do. Yep, you're right. You're right. You're so right, Dragon. You're just so right. The one thing I know is I know nothing. Yep, that's why I got the disco ball rolling. Okay. Well, I guess I'm going to stop. So, okay, guys, good night.